Hi there, I'm Dan Rinkus.
And I'm Melissa Meyers. Welcome to AIU Perspectives. In this episode, we're taking a look at the human elements of the AIU, human resources.
That's right, and we're looking at school security, why it's about much more than metal detectors and armed guards.
Schools can't be effective places for learning if they're not safe. But when it comes to executing a safety plan, relationships are just as important as any locked door or surveillance camera.
If you made me pick between that or having a building that only had that relationship piece, I'm picking the relationships.
How the AIU's Director of Safety and Security, Erin Skrbin, has been answering the call well before he arrived in Homestead.
As soon as I was old enough at 16, I joined the fire department, and I'm still a firefighter. I still do that today.
Human resources plays a key role in the success of the AIU, whether it's securing talent in a competitive job market.
That recruitment team makes such an impactful impression, not just people who do end up coming to the IU, but those that are looking at entering education within the greater Allegheny County area.
Or growing the AIU from within. We learn how the head of HR, Erin Koebel, puts people first.
And one of the great things about working at an IU versus a district is the opportunity for you to take your career in a lot of different directions.
Plus, the latest edition of Facts and Figures takes a look at the history of the AIU. How did this agency, that serves thousands of learners every year, get its start?
Right now, though, we're going to look at the people behind the people of the AIU.
That's right. I caught up with Erin Koebel, the AIU's Director of Human Resources, to ask her how the AIU attracts top-tier talent for its classrooms.
It's no surprise that an organization as large and diverse as the Allegheny Intermediate Unit has a lot of moving parts. But amid the busy programs and services, there's a team that often goes unseen: human resources.
So it's an opportunity to attract talent from the outside, bring them in and make that marriage relationship work.
Recruitment within the AIU is a top priority. According to Erin Koebel, Director of Human Resources, it all comes down to three things: attract, retain, and prepare.
So the first things first is making sure that we have people familiar with what the intermediate unit does. And so that's a lot of outreach, a lot of advertisement, partnering with the MARCOM, partnering with programs, but it's also a lot of boots on the ground recruitment, attending job fairs, going out and meeting with the different universities, participating in etiquette dinners and other types of events.
But recruitment isn't just about finding candidates for those current job openings. That boots on the ground work lays the foundation long-term as well.
Starting the process of getting people aware of the organization so that when something does open up in the future date, we've already have conversations underway that would shorten that time frame in which it would take us to fill an open position.
Still, making those hires doesn't come without obstacles. Koebel says the number one challenge they often face is competition, partially due to the limited number of people who are looking to enter the education sector.
So when you have a narrow pool to begin with, we're competing against every other public school, charter school, cyber school, other IUs for that talent, both inside Pennsylvania and outside of Pennsylvania.
But recruitment is only half of it. Retention is just as important, keeping the employees not only happy, but also providing them the opportunity to grow within their role.
People don't necessarily want to stay in the same job, their working lifespan. So there is a need to then look at what is it they want to do, how do they want to develop and hone their skills, where do they want to look at. And one of the great things about working at an IU versus a district is the opportunity for you to take your career in a lot of different directions.
And the variety of roles in different directions you can take within the AIU is what Koebel says makes it such a unique place to build a career.
It allows our people to grow their skills, utilize their skills in a different way, and then perhaps take their career in a multitude of different directions.
Over the past 8 years since Koebel first joined, the HR department has seen some significant growth.
So when I first got here, it was a paper and pencil application. Now we leverage technology and software to facilitate that task. So I have an entire recruitment team that we've grown.
And that recruitment team plays a crucial role within the department.
Our job is to advertise and attract talent. They'll attend the job fairs and just really start having conversations with the matriculating students at these universities or colleges. Again, that open dialogue and that relationship begins at that point in time.
One of the key hiring events is the Pittsburgh Education Recruitment Consortium, also known as PERC, a job fair connecting aspiring educators with school districts across the region.
We're here at the Perk Job Fair talking with AIU leaders about the benefits of today's event. Now, there are hundreds of graduating college students here who are seeking a career in education, and we caught up with a few of them.
So I'm here mostly to, get some interview practice and just to see the schools that are out there. I'm hoping to stay in PA, so my goal is just to, see all the options and hopefully learn more about all of them.
I was just really excited because I am a senior to build those networking opportunities with different employers in the area, even ones that I probably wouldn't reach out to. I still have those connections if I am in the job, and I was really excited to just practice interviewing and getting to know different people.
For some students like Douglas Bench, the job fair offered more than just networking. It offered a meaningful personal connection.
I've received services from the AIU for forever, starting with the preschool program and the deaf education program. And as we learned, her first job was where I went to preschool at the same building.
It was just super exciting to see it come full circle that he is here as a graduate,
yes,
looking for a position in education, and then to see him supported so well through programs through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit.
Dave Campos, principal at Sunrise School in Monroeville, attended the fair on behalf of the AIU. He says events like this are essential to finding future educators.
Job fairs like this are a nice opportunity for us to meet potential candidates and fill some of our needs. Obviously, I'm here on behalf of Sunrise specifically, looking for, again, the next generation of special ed teachers. And it really does give us a chance to just chit chat and meet these prospective candidates so that we can then follow up later with potential job interviews.
The relationships that potential candidates build with the talent team tend to last. Whether or not the job works out, the team consistently leaves a lasting impression.
That recruitment team makes such an impactful impression, not just people who do end up coming to the IU, but those that are looking at entering education within the greater Allegheny County area.
The impact of the work being done at the AIU is one of the main reasons that sparked Koebel's interest in joining the organization 8 years ago.
So what attracted me to coming to the IU is the fact that, again, the work that everyone was performing really supported the whole mission of the organization.
And in terms of what's next for the AIU, it seems as though Koebel and her team are a few steps ahead.
So when I came here, I actually created a business plan for HR specifically, and we have actually checked off most of those things. So looking into the future for where I feel that HR needs to go, I think the learning and development space is an opportunity for us.
At the end of the day, it's all about helping people understand the core mission of the Allegheny Intermediate Unit.
A lot has happened in the last 8 years, but I think that those that take the time to learn what the IU is, they're amazed at the breadth and depth of what we have to offer. And I really hope they take the time to learn about it, and we're always hiring. Come on down.
It's time for AIU Facts and Figures, where we bring depth to the facts and figures behind the people and programs of the Allegheny Intermediate Unit. The AIU has been a cornerstone in the local education community for decades, but it had to start somewhere. Before there were intermediate units, the AIU's forerunner was the Allegheny County Board of School Directors. By 1970, there was a clear need for regional educational service agencies. Not as small as a school district, but not as big as the State Department of Education. Enter the Intermediate Unit. The Pennsylvania General Assembly created 29 of them, with funding from local, state, and federal sources, replacing the County Superintendent of Schools model that had been around since the 19th century. By 1971, the AIU was up and running, with a board of directors whose members are also school directors in Allegheny County. Over the decades, the AIU's location and look has changed multiple times before settling at the waterfront in Homestead. Today, we continue to deliver on our mission of serving every learner, a mission going on 55 years and counting.
People who advocate for enhanced safety in schools are often well served by personal experience. The Allegheny Intermediate Unit's Director of Safety and Security, Erin Skrbin, has spent valuable time not only in the classroom, but as a first responder.
I grew up hanging around a fire station. My dad was a volunteer firefighter in Wilkins Township. I started hanging out at the fire station with him when I was like 3 or 4 years old, I think. So as soon as I was old enough at 16, I joined the fire department, and I'm still a firefighter. I still do that today.
Skrbin, a native of Wilkins Township, followed in his father's footsteps as a first responder. As Skrbin grew up, he started to focus on education.
I kept reflecting on an experience I had in high school, in marching band actually, where there were a couple of friends that were freshmen. I was a senior. They were really struggling with something, and I kind of took them aside, worked with them on it over time, and basically taught them what they need to do to be successful in this particular piece. And I really enjoyed that feeling.
Finding that capacity for teaching unlocked something in Skrbin. Attaining degrees from Duquesne and Carnegie Mellon universities, by the late 1990s, Skrbin found himself working in the Woodland Hills School District. He eventually rose to department chair and then administration.
Because I wasn't expecting it at all. It was a completely unexpected move. I just completed my 5th year of teaching. I was just eligible to become an administrator.
But it was another surprise encounter working in the South Fayette School District in the mid-2000s that got him started in school safety.
She looked at me and says, you're a volunteer firefighter at Mount Lebanon, right? Like, yeah, true story. She pulls this dusty binder off the shelf and hands it to me and says, okay, well, you're responsible for this now. And it was a safety plan that they had developed after September 11th. And so that really kind of began my journey into this world of school safety and security before it was even really a thing.
After being handed that binder, Skrbin asked the Mount Lebanon Volunteer Fire Company, who he was also a member of, to work with the Emergency Management Platoon.
And so that was really where I began learning about developing plans, about incident command, about the scope and breadth of, managing a large incident and preparing for incidents.
Over the next decade, Skrbin voluntarily worked with the AIU on school safety issues while educating himself through school district training sessions. Skrbin became a go-to guy for advice and information about best practices for school safety, and in 2019, the AIU created the job that he now calls his own.
The relationship piece is the single most important thing that we can do as people and as educators. We want to make meaningful connections to kids, help them feel connected to school, so that if they're struggling or know people that are struggling, they tell someone about it. And that then help can be brought to bear before we get into situations where violence erupts or kids take matters into their own hands and harm themselves, or whatever the case may be.
Managing those relationships, whether internally at the AIU, externally with our 42 school districts, or advocating for security improvements, makes Skrbin's work stand out.
We could talk about locking our doors, putting window film on windows, having an armed officer, take your pick, right? And all that's important. There's a place for all of it. I'm not diminishing it. But if you made me pick between that or having a building that only had that relationship piece, I'm picking the relationships.
Those relationships are tested these days by cell phones and the ongoing presence of social media.
It simply is a fact of life that, when I grew up, if I was getting bullied, when I got off the bus and went home, I at least had a reprieve of about 10 or 12 hours before I had to face it again. When you get off the bus now, there is no reprieve. And as a matter of fact, in some ways it gets worse after school, because if phones are regulated during the day, they're not after.
Skrbin preaches common sense when it comes to school safety, even something as simple as keeping a door closed.
We're standing here outside the AIU, outside the early childhood education classroom with Erin. And Erin, you've got a prop in your hand, a doorstop, and we see signs at schools a lot saying, stop the prop.
Right.
Explain to me why that's important. It's one of those security features that people sometimes don't think about.
Right. So propping doors has been a problem for school security for a long time. I mean, it's a very easy thing to do, particularly when it's still hot outside in old, unair-conditioned buildings. Teachers, gym teachers are a typical culprit, need to prop the door open, want to prop the door open to get some air circulating through the building. Bringing things in and out of the building, it's convenient. And that's really a lot of where security failures begin with, is something is inconvenient versus being convenient. There are real security concerns with that. And what brought that really into light and why there has been such a push with the Stop the Prop campaign over the last few years was the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde. What occurred at Robb Elementary was that a teacher walked out to get her cell phone, propped the door open utilizing a rock designated as the door propping rock, and got her phone, retrieved her phone from her car, came back, and when she looked, she saw the gunman coming out of his pickup truck that he'd wrecked in a drainage ditch, climbing out of the vehicle with a weapon coming towards the school. So she ran back inside, kicked the rock out of the way, obviously the right thing to do. The door closed, but the door didn't latch. And so he was able to make entry. That is why it is imperative that we make sure that doors are locked and we're not propping things open in a school. That teacher did not expect that to happen that day. Nobody wakes up and says, oh, today's the day. Like that just isn't how we think, nor should it be how we think. But the way that we not allow a bad situation to get worse or invite the problem is by doing simple things like making sure we're not propping a door open, making sure that our exterior doors are locked, and that we restrict entry to 1 or 2 locations at a particular site.
I've got my badge here, and this should be one of the only ways to get into the building.
Yep.
So if we go in and we open the door,
there you have it.
That should be it.
That's
and
it.
People shouldn't be.
We should not be doing that.
Right.
That is not what we want to do. What we have to remember is that, number one, now we do have a classroom, right? So we do have kids in the building. There are people that would seek to do harm if the opportunity presented itself, right, wrong, or indifferent.
While armed guards can be effective in certain situations, security design is just as important.
We're standing here in the lobby of the AIU, and Erin, there are layers of security both outside and in here that people will see when they go to schools. Tell me a little bit about those layers of security and how they matter.
Right, so your exterior layer of security is going to be, making sure you have secured doors that are access controlled, and the AIU, and in many schools, all schools really at this point, a lot of businesses even, you have a card access reader out front where you have to present a valid ID card that's programmed to allow the door to unlock. For visitors, you'll have something called an AI phone or a buzzer where a guest will walk up, buzz in, it will come here to our reception desk, and the receptionist has the ability to see in a camera the person so they can visualize them and make a quick assessment. Is this, anything obvious that would preclude me from allowing someone into the lobby? And so once you come into that, through that initial exterior layer of security, you're now within the building. This is a completely secure vestibule. You can't go anywhere but here until you are badged in by the receptionist, and now go through our visitor management system where you have to check in and you get a badge that identifies you as a visitor.
At the AIU, there are layers of security that you may not even notice when you walk through the front door.
You don't want, obviously, to allow people simply in and then to have full reign of the facility. Again, whether it's a school or an office building or anything else. So we modified this lobby to create this mousetrap, man-trapped effect. And it works well. We have had a few situations over the years where people have come in and we're really not sure of their purpose. Individuals that did not need to be here, so they were able to be kept here until they were either escorted out or asked to leave. Nonetheless, we don't want people just wandering around the building that don't have a purpose to be there, don't have authorization to be there.
For Skrbin, it's paying attention to the details, managing the relationships that affect everyone's safety, that make him a valuable security asset.
It's what we do, right? We're educators. The most important thing we do is cultivate meaningful, appropriate relationships with kids. And that is foundational to everything, really, in education, to my way of thinking. But, as it relates to my work, it's the most important thing we can do to help make our buildings safe and secure. It all comes down to the people behind it.
We wanted to take a moment to celebrate because AIU Perspectives is now an award-winning program. We brought home a Bronze Telly Award for Season 1 in May in the category of Online Series for Education and Discovery.
Season 1 also won an Award of Merit earlier this year from PennSPRA, that's the Pennsylvania School Public Relations Association. And this show isn't the only thing worth celebrating. The AIU's Marketing and Strategic Communication Department, the group responsible for this program, also won a pair of Silver Telly Awards for work that showcased the AIU's fatherhood program and family centers.
Plus, our department racked up 18 PennSPRA awards for a variety of work, including our in-house magazine, AIU Connections, along with our photography, press releases, and marketing materials. It's been a banner year so far, so thanks for your support.
That's going to do it for this episode and this season of AIU Perspectives.
But don't worry, we'll be back for Season 3 this fall. In the meantime, be sure to like and subscribe right here on the AIU's YouTube channel.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.